Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going over how to build your own kids play area. The whole entire thing. I'm going to show you what I have and what I did, how I did it and everything. And then we're going to go over how I think you should do it or go about doing it, things you could think about before you start looking too far into this thing. You can think about stuff of what you actually want, what in your mind you think you need, how much you're willing to spend on it, and different things you can add along the way and what you want right off. We're going to be talking about all those things. I am going to show you what I did, how I did it, and everything, and then we're going to talk about all the other stuff. So let's get right into it. All right, so let's walk over to mine and I can show you what I did. This is the play area. It's not too extravagant. And the good thing I do like about how I did this and everything, there's room for more. If we think we want to add something or do something different, it's going to be easy to do so. So first off, I did get a just regular play area with 2 stories of slides, some swings. And the bottom I did put sand in, so it's like a sandbox. That wasn't like on the picture of this, I just did that. That's something to think about if you have a bottom on a swing set like this, is don't worry about getting a different sandbox, just use it right there. Then next thing, we do have a little house and some hopscotch stuff that my wife and kids did, and then another little play area thing over there with sand and water. And we do have a lot of room in here to add some other small stuff like that. I do have treated 4x4s as the border, and then I used just regular mulch down here for the filler around this. And as you can see, right here is a rebar stake that I made. I put 4 in each board that I have here. And I did end up getting 12-foot long 4x4s, and just I did the border and the filler after everything was done. I'll talk about that in a second. But I did use a 12-foot long 4x4s, and then I happened to get at Lowe's a 10-foot long piece of rebar that I got for I think $6. And if you don't really have a way to cut the rebar, you can get smaller pieces, but the smaller you get, the more expensive they're going to be for what you actually get. So the longer piece you get, the more rebar you're actually going to get for your money. And I could get like full 20-foot long lengths of rebar at my shop. The only bad thing about that is I found out when I looked to order some, I had to get like 30 20-foot lengths, which was like a ridiculously amount of rebar that wasn't worth it. So I did go to Lowe's and get 10-foot lengths and was able to cut them. I did cut all of these stakes a foot long, and then on one end I ground it down to a point, so it was just easier to hammer down into the ground. So I did and it is a 1/2-inch diameter rebar. So I took a 1/2-inch drill and just drilled a hole all the way through where I wanted the stakes, then put the rebar down in there and hammered it into place. Then where the corners are, it doesn't really matter what type of screw you use, but I screwed them together just to kind of hold it all together in place. So that is what I did. So let's go over a couple of things you might want to think about if you're thinking about doing something like this. So the first thing you're going to want to think about doing before you really do anything is make sure you have a spot to put this in. So, I mean, it's all going to depend on what you actually want or think you want. The first step in all of this is to find a spot, a realistic spot of where you want this thing to go. Now, you don't really have to figure out exactly what you want to do yet to find a spot. Just be able to find a spot that is kind of going to be realistically a good area to do this around what you might think you want in size-wise. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is start getting a feel or idea of what you're actually going to want. and how much all of this is going to cost. Now, the way I did it is I got one thing at a time, and over time did different stuff, added stuff. And how my kids play area is now, I got everything that's there and got that in place of where I wanted it, like the whole swing set in the house, put that together and in place. Then the hopscotch and the other small thing, we had that, but we had that in a different area. And the real reason we did the whole play area thing is just to take all of the outside kids stuff and just put it in one area. And they really like that all of their stuff is just in their own little area. So once you kind of figure out what you want, like your end game and how you are going to want this thing to be, and find out the price of everything you're looking at, don't go too far into the price. Just kind of price in the big stuff so you're not going to like dig yourself into a hole. So the first thing I did was I got the swing set and I built it and put it where I wanted it. The next thing is we got the little kids house, put that right beside it. I didn't want to stretch it out. I didn't want stuff all over the yard. Still wanted it all in one place. So we had the swing set and then we got the house, put that together, and I actually used stakes and secured the house onto the ground because where our house is, it's a real big open area, and anytime we had real bad wind, it would just pick the house up and chuck it and tear it apart and everything, and I'd have to go get it, put it all back together and put it in place. So that is another thing to think about if you're doing one of these kids houses. If you're especially in an area like me where it's real wide open and no barriers around and you get high winds, that's going to happen. So figure out a way to secure it some way. Like I said, I use stakes, put one on each side of the house and secured it to the ground. Ever since I've done that, I haven't had an issue with it. So got the swing set, put it there, got the kids play house, put it there. And then over time we had some other stuff like the little water and sand dinosaur thing and then the hopscotch thing, and we'll probably end up doing other stuff. But after we got all of those things, we decided let's do a whole play area. Even though the big parts are already there, let's do a whole area with the floor and all that. So once we got to that point, your best option, in my opinion anyway, you can do whatever you want, it's your kids play area, is, like I said, I used 4x4s, and I think that's probably going to be the cheapest option as far as a border that you're going to want to go with. And if you're going to want to do that, you are going to want to secure it to the ground. Like in my case, I used stakes. I used rebar stakes. Didn't want to use wood stakes. I wanted it kind of to be hidden and you didn't really see it. So I did drill the holes and cut my own rebar stakes and secured the 4x4s to the ground. And I didn't have a plan or a picture I was going off of anything. I just saw how I wanted mine to be and the kind of area I wanted it to be in, and plenty of room to, like, for all the kids to run around the whole entire thing, and just made the area that. And so I started on one flat edge and just worked my way around to get it how I thought it would be good for the kids and plenty of room to run around and everything like that. So that's how I did that. So I did use the 4x4s as a border. Then you're going to want a filler of some kind for the floor. I used mulch. I got the cheapest mulch I could get. Here in Virginia, I was able to get a 1 cubic yard for, I think, $21, $22. And for that area, I ended up getting 3 yards. So just over $60, I got the mulch for the whole entire floor. Then the 4x4s, that was a little bit more expensive. I think I paid close to, I think, $80 to $100 on the 4x4, including the rebar and everything. So that's going to be a little bit more bigger expense. You're going to want to figure that in to your whole thing if you want to go that route. But the whole thing about this is you don't have to do all of it at one time. You can just do one thing, get one thing, have it for a year or more, and then maybe add something else. And then when you like how it is and where it is, then do your border and a floor, make it look all nice and everything. So that's how I did mine. How how mine is, I think I got the swing set probably about 4 or 5 years ago. So price is going to vary depending on what you do and where you get it. I think that swing set that I got, I do believe was probably around $500 maybe. So if you want to do something like I did, swing set, you're going to be probably, a new swing set anyway, going to be looking at probably around $500. Then if you want a house, the kids' playhouse, you're probably going to be looking at probably another $100. And then anything else, small stuff to put in there, I just average probably, just to be safe, add $300 more. So now we're at $900. Now you're going to want a border. If it's going to be as big as mine, like I said, I spent about $100 on just the border. So now we're at $1,000, and then the mulch I got for about $60. So what I have, it would be around $1,000. The good thing about that is, like I said, you don't have to do that all at one time. You can space that out how you want to. So it's not something you got to do all at one time. Just space it out however you want to. So be sure to give me a thumbs up if you like this video, if you liked my kids' play area, if you've done something like this. Let me know about yours, and if you like mine, if you think I should do something different or something like that, let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. And if you haven't yet, be sure to get subscribed to the channel. I do a lot of how-to videos and show you how I do stuff like that. Be sure to check all the other videos out on my channel. Be sure to get subscribed. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.